Hi, I'm Nick Rodriguez with the Squid Ink service team, and welcome to our video series covering the Orion marking and coding software. I hope you find this next video informative. Okay, so welcome to another video here on the Orion coding and marking software. Today we're going to discuss transferring the message that we created, this message that we created in a previous video, over to our controller so that we can go ahead and print this. So just to kind of preface this a little bit, there are a few different ways that we can do this. We can do this via the Ethernet connection or wireless network connection if that's the way you're set up, or through a USB thumb drive or USB stick or whatever that you have on hand. So we'll cover both of those approaches and the various ways that you can do them, and hopefully we can get you off and running and printing. Okay, so the first approach we're going to cover is sending the message via Ethernet. So right now, we're already connected to our controller. We've established that connection in a previous video here. So this is our serial number, which should match the number here and the number here under the print station and the message itself. So the easiest way here to transfer your message is, once you have it up on your screen as it's shown here, is you can go up to the Home tab, or go up to the Home tab and select Send to Printer. Okay, so when we do that, let's take a look at what's going on here. So it's going to ask me, because I think I moved something, it's going to ask me if I want to save it, so I'll go ahead and hit yes. And then the next step that it's going to do here is go out there and take a look at any other connected printers that may be on my network or that I have registered. You'll see that there's no printers here because I only have the one printer registered and connected to right there. So that's the serial number I want the message to go to. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Now, but before we do that, there's a couple of things that you can see here when you are transferring. If you want to remove messages that that you have on the controller, you can check this box. It's a good way to delete mass messages. Otherwise, you leave that unchecked, and it's just going to transfer the message that you currently are trying to send to the printer. And what you'll see is that it is set up to print now. As soon as I send my message, it'll be pulled up and ready to print on the controller. So let's go ahead and hit OK. Now what you're seeing here is Orion transferring all the font types that we used for the message and all the actual printable data that goes along with it. So again, we kind of showed this quickly in another video, but you'll see all the successes and the build time to send that message over to the printer. That's like a rendering time there. So we'll go ahead, we got 1 success, 0 fails, so we'll go ahead and hit close. So that message is currently now on my controller. If I were in a position where I could go, where I would need to test the print, we can go ahead and do so at this moment. So that's one way to send it, right? We can send it via the Send to Printer. We can also do the same thing if we go to File and down here, Send to Printer. So again, there's a lot of ways to do the same kind of thing with Orion. So that's sending it via Ethernet, the same thing, it doesn't change. We can do it again just to see how it looks. No change there, right? So all my fonts, everything goes right to it, the message name and everything. So wait for it to finish. And we'll go ahead and close. So that is one way of sending the message that you have currently open. If you are making multiple messages and you have more than one message that you want to open, then there's another way to do that, and that we can send in bulk. So in order to get there, again, you want to make sure you're in the Home tab and you want to go to Message Management. Now in here, it's important to remember to select the appropriate print station. Right now we only have one. And so under this print station, I have these two messages made. Slightly different, but overall pretty similar. What you can do is you can use your mouse to select all, and hit send to printer here, right? So I'm going to go ahead and hit send to printer. I'm just going to wait and see if there's any other printers out there that it can send it to. Since I'm sending multiple messages, it's not going to pull up one of those messages specifically unless I tell it which one I want, right? So we've already sent Nick to pull up to print. Let's do the test print so that when we send it, it'll go out there and have that message ready to print. So let's go ahead and hit OK. And what you're seeing again is the font list, and now we see the first message we sent and the second message that we also have is there as well. Now, if you are set up with a wireless connection, the steps are exactly the same. It does not change. These steps that we covered for the Ethernet or the network connection is either through Ethernet or wireless. So you can do the same thing with both setups there. So next we'll talk about how to transfer using the USB stick. Okay, so the next method of transferring your messages or your message to your controller or controllers will be through the USB disk. So again, with your message open, what you're going to want to do is make sure you're on the Home tab here and find the icon here that says Export to USB disk. And what we'll want to do is go ahead and select that. So when you hit export to USB disk on this screen, it'll ask you which messages you want to select. You can select all like we did before, or just select individually. Okay, so today we'll go ahead and just do select all. We'll pick both of them, right? Select all, and then I'll go ahead and hit OK. Now, this screen becomes a little bit more important and is slightly different than what you saw under the network screen, right? Where we only saw the serial number here and nothing on the right-hand side. So with the way Orion and the Copilot controllers work is they need to see a very specific folder structure on the USB stick or thumb drive in order to successfully pull any print messages from that. So it's not as simple as just copying and pasting the message files into your USB stick. We have to go through this process of adding the correct folder structure, and we'll take a look at the USB so that you see what I'm speaking about once we get this done with. So there are two things to consider here once you get to this screen, right? One is, do I have to transfer to multiple controllers? Am I just sending my message to one printer or to multiple printers? The other thing is if my serial number here, does that match the serial number of the unit that I'm going to be connecting to or sending or plugging my USB stick to? If the answer is that that serial number does not match or that you are going to use multiple printers, the approach that you should use is selecting the generic printer here. What generic printer allows you to do is it allows you to plug in your USB thumb drive into any like controller. So for this instance, it would be a Copilot Max, either the standard or the turbo. I can plug it into any Max controller and load the message that I just created into it. So generic allows you to plug into any controller of the same type without restriction. Using the serial number here only allows you to send that message to that specific serial number. So this is a way for you to control what messages go where and to what printers. If that's not important to you, then the best approach is this. If your serial number doesn't match what this is, then the best approach is using generic printer. If you are going to send to multiple printers, then the best approach would be generic printer. So the first step that we're going to do here is we're just going to send it using this serial number right here because we only have the one that we're using. So I just want to show you what that looks like, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at the USB stick itself. So that's the serial number I'm going to send it to. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. Before I go to hit OK, I want to point out that there's another, even with this, with the USB, you can also remove all existing messages from the printer, or keep existing messages on the printer but overwrite if they exist on the USB, which means if I made a change to one of my messages and I put it on my USB, those changes would be saved and loaded on top of the message on the controller. So this is a good way if you want to keep everything that you have on your controller, which most people do. They keep it here. But if you're looking to erase old messages and just load specific ones, then remove all existing messages from the printer would be the choice to make. Now, I will warn you that whatever you select here will stay that way until you change it. So your USB will always be set to either remove all or keep existing until you use this menu again with that USB stick. So let's go back to transferring to this serial number, since we only have one controller, which there are a few applications out there like that. So we'll go ahead and hit OK. And what it's going to do, it's going to go out there and try to find any connected USB sticks to your device. FAT32 is one of our supported formats. There are, I think, 2 more. Those might be listed in the manual, or we can get them prompted up here. So hold on, we'll hit OK. We'll go out there and think, and now we'll see that it's been the message file has been successfully exported. So we hit OK. To double check that, I'm going to go ahead and pull up my thumb drive, which is right here. And so this is what you should see on your USB stick, right? Right now we used a blank USB stick, so the only folder here is the Squid Ink folder. The Squid Ink folder that you see here was created by Orion when we went through that process, okay? So here we go. We're going to go ahead and just take a look at Squid Ink. We've got an Orion folder, a messages folder, and now we see our serial number, a folder for that serial number. So what this is telling us is that I can plug this USB stick into this controller and transfer the messages that are behind it. So let's take a look at what we've got. We've got both messages that we created in a previous video, so that's accurate. I always like to go to the USB stick just to see what I'm working with and make sure that I have the correct folder here. It's not absolutely necessary for you in the field, but it's just something that you can do. So I go ahead and confirm that I have that. Now I can go ahead and remove my thumb drive from my PC and plug it into my controller and load those messages on there. And that'll be something that we can show you as well. Now to kind of go back at the export, let's go back here. We did say something about generic, right? We kind of covered that pretty heavily. So if you are in a situation where you are going to use the generic printer, what you want to do, and again, that would be if you have multiple printers, not the accurate serial number, that kind of situation, right? What you want to do is remove the serial number here. Anything on the left-hand side of this menu is what Orion will build the folder structure for, and that folder structure is what we just looked at on the USB stick itself. Okay, so this is important. So what we can do is, I don't want to transfer to this serial number. I want to transfer to pretty much everything. I don't want to limit it to this serial number. What I'll do is make sure it's highlighted like it is here and select remove. And then I'm going to select my generic printer and hit add. So the key point here is making sure that you have the right selection on this message target printers menu here on the left-hand side. If you don't have the generic printer or you have the serial number, it's going to act the way, it'll build the folder structure according to whatever you have here. So now that I have my generic printer there, I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And it does the same thing as it does when we go for the USB or for the serial number. So we've got that. Let's go ahead and verify. Nope, right there. And Squid Ink, Orion, messages. And this is what you'll see. So we have our previous folder for the serial number that we made, and now we have a copilot underscore 1024. This is your generic max, 1024 jets is what that's telling you. Generic printer is going to look something like this. So it doesn't matter if you're using Max, Copilot 500, but an active Copilot or a passive 128 Copilot, it's going to say Copilot underscore, and then the number of jets will be right here. So we'll see that my generic printer, I can go ahead and use any one of these deals to send to it. So those are the two options for sending your messages to your controller using the USB. What I would recommend if you're going to be using USB is either do the generic or the serial number. Don't have both like we have here because it'll confuse things down the road, right? It'll only work for this one and maybe not for that one. So just a little tip there. If you have multiple printers, go ahead and use generic. If you have a single printer, you can use the serial number and nothing will and everything will transfer correctly. So that covers that section of the USB transfer. We should probably cover what it looks like once we get that USB on the controller and the steps that it takes to go ahead and load that on there. So, all right. So now that we've got our messages on our USB thumb drive, we're going to go ahead and we've already removed that thumb drive from the PC. We're over at our controller. I'm going to go ahead and take my USB stick. And with the power on of the controller, I'm going to plug it into the USB receptacle on the front of it here that we'll see. So I'm going to go ahead and use this and place that in here. Now, when you plug in your USB thumb drive to the controller, there will be a menu that pops up on the screen. It may take a few moments, but that's the menu that you're going to see here. Now, to quickly kind of go over what you're seeing here, there's a couple of features that we have on here. One, this icon at the top transfers messages from the USB to our controller, which is what we're trying to do today. Okay, so that's the top right. The bottom right here is to take messages from the controller and then load them onto the USB drive so that we can use them or take a look at them elsewhere. The next feature that you'll see here on this side here is going to be debug for us. That gives us information of if you're having issues in the field and need help troubleshooting, we can go ahead and ask you to pull that information and send it to us via email. Today what we're going to do is focus on transferring our messages over. So I'm going to go ahead and select this, and you will see a progress bar show up on your screen that'll give you, the percentage of completion. We've got a couple of messages there, so the more messages you have, the longer it may take. But you know you're done when you have all this information on the screen, right? So we didn't delete any, we've added 2, we've got a total of 3 messages. I'm going to go ahead and hit my check mark. Now I can either safely eject my USB, which means now I can grab it. But for now, let's just make sure that our messages are there. So I'm going to go to the folder, and there are both of my messages. So today, let's go ahead and use that one, and I'm going to hit apply. And again, we get a green check telling us everything went good. And there's the message right there. That's exactly what I wanted to print. We went ahead and transferred it both ways today via Ethernet and USB, and we're successful. Again, I'm Nick Rodriguez with the Squid Ink service team. Thank you for watching our video covering message transferring with the Orion marking and coding software. I hope you found it useful. Go ahead and find more of our videos either on YouTube or elsewhere on the web. See you next time.